Do you ever get that feeling that technology is just moving almost too fast, like we're right on the edge of something?
Oh, all the time.
I mean, I certainly do. It feels like just yesterday, AI was, this little novelty. It could write a decent email, maybe.
A little stiff, but it worked.
Exactly. And now, today, we're talking about systems that can execute this incredibly complex work that once took a whole team of human experts months.
Yeah, the testing phase is definitely over.
It's completely over. I think 2026 is going to be the year we really start living and working in a totally new way.
Welcome to the deep dive. I'm so energized for this one because we are getting into some critical insights from really the cutting edge of tech reports.
Mm.
And for you, our listener, the learner, it
Yeah.
makes sense to ask, how do we make sense of all this acceleration?
Mm.
Our mission today is pretty specific. We're going to chart this huge shift from AI as just a simple tool like that old chatbot model to AI as a true collaborative partner. This is really the age of digital amplification.
We have 7 big trends to unpack here. We're going to start with that profound shift in how we work, and then the intense new safety demands that come with it.
Then we'll pivot a bit. We're going to look at how AI is dramatically improving things like global health and speeding up scientific discovery on a scale that honestly is hard to even imagine.
And finally, we'll pull back the curtain on the massive global infrastructure, the sort of silent engine that has to power this whole new world.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So we have to start with the big one, right?
Yeah.
The existential question that's on everyone's mind. Is AI going to take my job? It's a natural fear.
It is. It is. But if you look at the consensus across the major reports, the goal for 2026 is amplification. It's not wholesale replacement. It's about collaboration at scale.
I appreciate that, but, these analogies can sometimes gloss over the complexity. I know we love the one about AI being like a set of super modern power tools.
Right. And the human is still making the fundamental design choice.
Oh.
But the tool gives you like 10 times the speed. But see, those power tools don't ask for a salary, and they don't introduce these massive security risks when you plug them into your company's financial system. Isn't that analogy kind of missing the complexity of adding a decision-making thing?
That's a really fair challenge.
Yeah.
I think the difference is in the evolution away from the old chatbot. That was the model where you had to micromanage everything. Write this email, you wait, then, okay, now send this email.
Right, step by step.
We're moving toward what the industry is calling AI agents. And you should think of an agent less like a tool and more like a smart, goal-oriented intern who doesn't need constant check-ins.
So you don't micromanage. You just give it a single high-level goal, something like, help me launch and sell these 3 new products.
Exactly. And then that agent it goes, it handles the market research, it drafts the sales copy, it schedules the emails, and it even generates a report on conversion rates, all from that one command.
Microsoft calls this amplification, right?
Yeah, that's their term because it fundamentally changes the scale of what a human can do. I mean, a small team of, say, 3 people can suddenly do the work of a medium-sized company. That's where the real value is.
So if this new agent is defined by its goal orientation, its autonomy, what's the fundamental change in how we have to prompt it?
You have to ask it to act like a manager or a partner. You're setting a high-level objective, not giving it a to-do list.
That kind of power is incredible. But, the second you give that digital intern the keys to the kingdom access to your client list, your company email, we immediately have to talk about risk.
Oh, absolutely. The security risk just skyrockets. I mean, what if that autonomous agent gets tricked by a bad actor? Your helpful tool could be told to send out secret company data, and suddenly it's a spy working against you.
They're calling this the double agent problem. And it's a genuinely terrifying thought that the AI you trust to help you is turned against you because you gave it too much access.
Yeah, so the solution for 2026 is all about building a really strong protection layer right into the OS itself. Every single AI agent is going to need a digital ID card to do anything.
And that ID is key because it strictly limits what the agent can see. It can only access certain folders. It's basically walled off from your most sensitive files.
And critically, the agent cannot send any data outside the system without your explicit human consent.
Yeah.
You have to physically click yes. It's mandatory human oversight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, it gets challenging. I have to admit, even with all the safeguards, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, just trying to maintain that vigilance when I'm delegating sensitive tasks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a constant battle to prevent accidental data leaks.
That's a really powerful admission. So given that high-stakes risk, what's the key piece of practical advice for our listeners today?
Practice data safety. Never input bank passwords or client secrets into those free, unregulated chat tools.
That security issue leads us right into how AI is handling responsibility in the real world. Let's shift gears now, out of the server room and into the clinic. Trend 3, fixing the doctor shortage.
This is a huge looming crisis. The World Health Organization is predicting a global shortage of 10 million health workers by 2030. I mean, that means huge numbers of people just won't see a doctor when they're sick.
And AI is central to trying to solve this. The goal isn't replacement, it's about freeing the doctor's hands to deal with the most critical human cases.
For sure. The applications are immediate. First, you've got triage. A nurse AI can look at initial pain level, temperature, and figure out the danger level to prioritize who needs to see a human right away.
And second is specialized diagnosis support. Microsoft has been pushing a tool, I think it's called the Diagnostic Orchestrator.
Yeah, and what's wild here is the data. In tests on really difficult, complex medical cases, that orchestrator hit an 85.5% accuracy rate. That's not a small improvement. That's literally saving lives right now.
Wow, 85.5% on the hard cases. It really shows you how fast this is moving when it's applied to a real human need. So, if AI is being used for diagnosis, what's the critical boundary users have to respect with their own health data?
AI should only be used for reference and simple explanation. A human doctor must always be the final authority on your health.
Okay, let's talk scientific discovery. Trend 4. We're moving beyond AI, just, writing summaries. Now it's becoming an active scientist itself.
Right. Think about the old scientific method. You had researchers manually mixing substance A and substance B, hoping for something, failing, trying again. That could take years just to test one idea.
The new AI way just shortcuts that entire process. It doesn't just read a few papers, it reads all global science papers, and it connects these non-obvious dots that no human team could ever see.
And then it runs millions of virtual experiments in seconds. It simulates chemical reactions with perfect precision.
And the result is these highly targeted suggestions that just slash R&D timelines. Things like, hey, why don't we mix compound X and metal Y? And that leads to faster cures, new materials.
Whoa. Just imagine that potential. When AI can suggest a new drug or a new battery material that would have taken thousands of man-hours to test, and it does it in a few minutes, I mean, that changes the fundamental speed of civilization. That's a serious moment of wonder.
It truly is. So what's a simple, real-world application of that pattern-finding mindset for someone who isn't a scientist?
You can use AI to find non-obvious connections, like between fast fashion and local water challenges, to generate creative business solutions.
Speaking of solutions, we have to talk infrastructure. Trend 5, the energy problem. Every sophisticated AI query uses way more electricity than a simple Google search.
Yeah, if everyone's using an agent all day, the demand for power is going to skyrocket. We can't just keep building more servers. It's terrible for the environment. So the 2026 solution is all about efficiency.
And they're basically building a smart grid for intelligence using something called distributed computing.
The easiest way to think about it is like a ride-sharing app, like Uber, but for computer power.
Exactly. When server farms in, say, the US are quiet because it's the middle of the night, their power gets automatically routed to users in another region, like Vietnam, where it's daytime and demand is high.
The goal is just maximum utilization. No server sits idle. As Mark Russinovich from Microsoft Azure said, we have to make every single watt of power produce intelligence. There's no more margin for waste.
So beyond just saving power, what does distributed computing really enable for users around the world?
It allows for continuous high-speed access to computing power globally by just maximizing the use of the hardware we already have.
Okay, moving to trend 6, let's talk about coding, which is a huge field for so many of our learners. This evolution is a big one.
For sure. The old AI coding tools, like the first version of GitHub Copilot, were basically just fancy autofill. They just guessed the next few words of code you were writing.
But the new AI understands the entire deep context of your project, not just the one file you're in. They call this repository intelligence.
The old AI tried to guess the story from one page. The new AI has read the whole book, the author's notes, and the publisher's style guide, the entire project folder.
And the real value for a coder is system coherence. The AI knows that if you fix one little thing in page A, it's going to affect something 15 files away in page B. It sees the whole architecture.
And you can already see the impact. GitHub said their users' code updates jumped by 25% to over 1 billion updates, just driven by this context-aware help.
For a beginner, what's the most important takeaway about the value of that kind of intelligence?
It's like the AI has read the architect's blueprint, so if you try to move a load-bearing wall, it instantly tells you the roof is going to collapse.
Finally, Trend 7, the frontier of speed itself. Quantum computing. For years, this was, science fiction. By 2026, it's becoming a real integrated factor.
The simplest way to get the speed difference is this. The normal computer solves a maze by walking down one path at a time. It hits a wall, turns back, tries again.
A quantum computer, because of how qubits work, can essentially flow into all paths at the same time like water. It finds the solution almost instantly.
That speed is mind-blowing, but there's a huge catch. Quantum computers are still super unstable, really sensitive to temperature, and hard to keep coherent.
So the reality for 2026 isn't a total switch to quantum, it's the hybrid system. We're not using quantum for everything, we're integrating it carefully.
Yeah, the hybrid system is this powerful three-part team. AI handles pattern recognition, classical supercomputers do the massive, stable math, and then the quantum computers are saved for the hardest problems, like in chemistry.
That's why we still need those big supercomputers for all the stable math. Quantum is a specialist, perfect for modeling molecular bonds, things like that.
Right. And Microsoft's Majorana 1 chip is a huge step here. It's basically trying to build a reliable interface to make these unstable quantum systems predictable enough for actual work.
Given that instability, why is it so important to keep pushing this hybrid approach?
It lets us leverage quantum speed for those very specific hard problems while we rely on stability for, 99% of everything else.
Okay, so let's recap the big idea here.
The transition we've been talking about, I think, is complete. AI is no longer a calculator. It's not a toy. It's a partner. And it's designed for amplification and goal execution in every major field, from your job to finding global health cures.
The world is changing incredibly fast, but the key is not to run from it. The goal is to drive the technology, to learn how to be a better collaborator with it. We pulled 3 immediate actions from the sources you can start today. First, change your mindset. Stop treating AI like an answer machine. Ask it to plan, to critique, to act like a partner.
Yeah.
Second, protect yourself. Be extremely careful with personal data, especially in those free tools. That double agent problem is very real.
And third, start small. Just pick one of these new agent-style tools, use it for one small task this week, and just get comfortable with delegation. Learn the limits of your new partner.
The future really belongs to the people who actively drive this technology, not the ones who stand on the sidelines and hope it passes them by.
So are you ready to be a driver?